A very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on the Thursday edition of the show. I'm Yemi Adebayo. On the show tonight, we will talk about the European Court judgment on the botched Super League. We'll talk about all the angles to it. We'll also continue with our countdown to the Africa Cup of Nations, the biggest football tournament on the continent, the most eagerly anticipated football tournament. We'll talk about that on Focus. Tonight will be Group B. We will also talk about the Confederation Cup. It wasn't a good night last night for Rivers United. We'll talk about that. And also we'll look at the Nigerian Premier Football League, look at the Women's League, and also take a look at table tennis. We'll give you a slice of table tennis on the show tonight. That's the outlook of the show. Of course, it's a two-man show. My colleague Austin Okon-Akpan will be joining in when he's ready. I will be joining in. While we wait for Austin to join in, let's quickly introduce our guest in the Lagos studio. Okpeyemi Kiode joins us on the show tonight. Okpeyemi, greetings to you. As always, thanks for finding time to be with us on the show.
Thank you, Yemi. Well, a big week, no doubt about that. I really saw some very interesting MPFL games today. And I must tell you for a fact that if you can sustain these baby steps, yes, we're certainly not where we're supposed to be. But say, we're just getting it done. Yet again, Sikiru Alimi are getting a goal today. I mean, for Remo Stars, probably just sending the message to the national team manager, Jose Pacero. I've got some goals, on my boots, and let's see all of that would spin off. I'm really excited about the African Cup of Nations. I'm really hoping that the Super Eagles of Nigeria, which I think, could go as far as they want to go in that tournament, can just bring some glory to us. And let's see if we can make it, 10 years after. Although the next concert was supposed to be for 2023, but it's now going to be in 2024. So let's see if we can make it 10 years after and just bring another one home. So there's so much to talk about on the show today. I'm excited.
All right, so much to talk about. And that conversation has been generating a lot of comments on social media, whether or not the home-based players should be included. Some are speaking for, some are spoken against. I mean, a lot has, unfortunately for us, tonight is not a time when we want to delve into that conversation, but it's an interesting conversation to have. Also, Konakman is ready now as we continue this trip together. Austin, another good day to talk sports.
What a great to you, Yemi, and of course, viewers joining us from different parts of the world. Always an action-packed total sports. The European Super League isn't dead, Yemi. We thought that in 2021, when it was announced that it died a premature death, he said, no, I'm still around the corner after the European Court of Justice said FIFA and UEFA acted unlawfully to, say they will ban clubs that will feature in the European League. That conversation is hot. I mean, so hot right here in the United Kingdom. I'm sure when we get into that conversation, our viewers will join also. What is it about European Super League? All I see is business, but fans, followers of the sport, believe that it's going to hurt football. I don't know, but we'll continue to see how this situation will develop. I see a lot of major talking points, particularly football in Nigeria, the MPFL, the NWFL, and of course the Super Eagles and their quest to do well at next year's Africa Cup of Nations. We'll continue that countdown. I'm pumped up for it, Yemi.
All right. At some point, we'll also hope to have someone else join us, even as we take a look at the implications of this court judgment. Austin has set it on by starting from there. Okay, just a quick words from you. Two sides. UEFA saying, look, this court judgment doesn't say anything. It's not in any way saying that the European Super League should go on. The proponents of the Super League are saying, oh, this is a landmark judgment. And from what we're seeing in the news, they've already shown us proposal and the way they want to go about. So how do you make of all of this?
I was really interested in the judgment, so we all waited. And then when it came through today, it's just like giving something with the left and taking it back with the right. And, hey, the court had made it clear that the judgment does not in any way endorse the European Super League. It's just a confirmation to the fact that, hey, the FIFA and UEFA abused, their monopoly to have, given that judgment to override the decision initially. So the conversation is open, but I've always said it. I've always felt like it's business. This business side of sports does not allow for, one person monopolizing it. There's a lot of money on the table. If you look at what the UEFA did by introducing the UEFA Conference League, they just felt like, what, let's get this done. We have a lot of sponsors that are bringing money to the table. Let us continue to create competitions that would allow these people come up and also brings in a lot of more people that have been kicked out of the roundup. So I don't know how far it will go, but I think the statement has been made, Yemi. The people pushing for the European Super League will not stop. I mean, they've got Barcelona on this one. Of course, Barcelona is broke. So whatever money they can get now, they will certainly hold on to it. And for Real Madrid, they've also constantly shown that, hey, we're up for the big deal. I don't know, maybe somebody is trying to break the control of the monopoly of UEFA and Seferin and FIFA and all of that. But the most important thing is that the message is clear. We saw the same thing with Live Golf, where a couple of the golfers were pulling out of the PGA Tour. At the end of the day, both of them are aligned. So I don't know, but the most important thing is that for now, we don't know the direction that the European Super League will take, but the message has been clear.
All right.
We're not here to joke, we're here to make a statement, and let's keep firing on.
All right, it's not going anytime soon, that's for sure. All right, FIFA football license agent Segun JEGEDE joins us now. Greetings to you, Segun. Thanks for finding out time to be with us on the show tonight. So let me just throw you right into the middle of the conversation. Your immediate reaction to this judgment, are you in any way surprised?
Well, I'm not surprised. First of all, thanks for having me once again. I'm not surprised because when you look at economics in terms of dominance of power, abuse of power, and competitions law, you look at it depending on who can argue the case the best way. And in this circumstance, like my colleague has rightly said there, the European Court of Justice hasn't actually said they support the European Super League. However, people have to come on board and bring competition onto whoever's already in the market. So in the food chain, every party, every stakeholder is important. The theory of the food chain, from the worm to the plant, to the farmers, to everybody. So there's always need for a dialogue. And sometimes when you're dominant and you have superpowers in whatever industry, you may tend to sort of step on people's toes in ways whereby they think, hold on, there's a big pot of money here. We can have a share in it. It's always good to negotiate and to bring people on board. But you have to understand the human psychology in terms of how people protect their interest. If you're a dominant power, you try your best to crush whatever competition is coming in. So I feel that with the way things are going right now, let's see how things will pan out. But at some point, everybody will need to sort of negotiate. I think what these other parties are looking for is they just want a piece of the cake, really. So at some point, everybody will come and talk and see where we can take this to.
All right. So let me yield to Austin. I mean, Austin's probably going to take us through some of the reactions already on board. I like how Segun and, of course, Okoyemi have put it. And Okoyemi also gave us the example of Live Golf. They huffed and puffed. And at the end of the day, everybody sat down and they talked. Even the players on the PGA Tour were stunned to see the PGA turn around and negotiate with Live Golf. Do you think a situation like this might happen in spite of the hard stance UEFA and FIFA seem to be having right now?
It's all business here. I mean, I remember the first time this story broke, I was on the show with Segun JEGEDE, and one thing we could agree is that it's all business. Before you start thinking about who's got power and who is trying to ensure there's dissolution of power, people are talking business. Football money is serious business, if you look across clubs. And what this ruling has done, guys, let's not forget, this ruling has opened the door for new proposals to be put forward and for clubs to look to organize and manage European football competitions. So, pre-season is here. Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, and Fulham. So let's do a London derby competition because we know we've got good followers. We're going to make money through TV rights and all of that. And I said, let's go for it and do it. So it's all business. You know what? Let's listen to some of the talking points that has come right after this European Court of Justice ruling. And then I'll pick on some of it and throw it to Segun JEGEDE on the show tonight. Stay with us.
Indeed, there is big news today. And that news is that football is free. Free from the monopoly of UEFA, free to pursue the best ideas without fear of sanctions, and under our proposal, free viewing of all live matches. This morning, the European Court of Justice ended UEFA's near 70-year monopoly by determining that FIFA and UEFA's rules on prior approval of interclub competitions are contrary to European Union law. They have also determined that FIFA and UEFA rules making any new interclub project subject to their prior approval and prohibiting clubs and players from those playing those competitions, that they are also unlawful. The court has effectively opened the door to innovation in football, and clubs can now openly discuss and consider proposals to address the sport's most pressing issues. The cornerstone of our proposal remain the 10 principles which we published last February. Critically, a couple of those principles are worth repeating. Participation will be based on sporting merit, there will be no permanent members, and clubs will remain committed to their domestic leagues. A22 proposes to create Unify, a direct-to-fan streaming platform, which would be the place that fans turn to enjoy their passion for football, to connect with their clubs and favorite players, to find the latest news, and most importantly, to view live matches for free. This concept applies equally to both the men's and the women's game, with the women's games and the women's matches given the same visibility and accessibility as the men's. This is a critical boost women's football needs to continue to grow and to develop. It will lead to fantastically exciting matches throughout the entire year, not just part of the year. A league system with just 14 matches means that absolutely every match counts. Clubs that almost never play each other will now compete regularly on the European stage and generating even a greater rivalry.
That's a lot of information, to unpack by the CEO of A22. They are the backers of the original European Super League. Now, he started by saying football is free from the stronghold of FIFA and UEFA. There's another section that are saying football is for the fans. So, Segun, let's stay with England where we are, and we know that football is big business in this country. I was listening to the Supporters Association saying that there is no place for an ill-conceived breakaway Super League. Will this be another round of talks? Do you think that the European Super League will survive all of the criticisms and rejections that it suffered in 2021?
What I would just say to you is the only constant thing in life is change. And when there's business, money talks. And it's just about the money, not at the price. It's about the value. So what we need to look at now is who is going to be able to add added value. Is it FIFA? Is it these new corporations or these new entities that are coming on board? There are pros and cons to all this that has happened. I'll tell you the pros. The pros is more competition. And not just about bringing monetary assets into it or the pricing. It's about value. Value is the core issue here. That will swing it to the left or to the right. I don't see it going into the middle. It will swing it one way or the other. So, and when in competition law and in economic terms, when this kind of things happen, the consumers usually benefit from it. So it's opened the floodgates of enormous benefits, enormous value for consumers, for sports fans, for footballers. All entities will be able to participate and all stakeholders will have something in it. However, the cons now will be a situation whereby you have different entities trying to outcorner the other parties one way or the other. And then it will go on and on. But at some point, something has to give way. So I'm looking at it from the point of view that no matter what happens, FIFA, UEFA, and these new bodies will have to come together and sit down and talk. So what, I suppose for a dominant power, the fear is always if somebody comes into the market. So there's something that is called, there's a theory called, there are two theories called the blue ocean and the red ocean. Red ocean means there's a lot of competition. Everybody's there fighting for the same market. And then when you create a blue ocean, it means you have more innovation, you have new technology coming into place, new ideas and new strategies. So what these people have actually done now is they're trying to create their own blue ocean. So this is all very interesting for economists, organizational psychologists, and the legal framework in sports and in business.
I agree, but I used rejection for a purpose because major clubs are already releasing statements saying they're committed to UEFA. And
they're committed. They didn't say. Yeah. Commitment is different. When these things happen, people bring out statements. Commitment means if you and I have a contract, and I say to you, I'm committed to your contract. What I just have to go and do is go and look at my contract and look at, okay, what are my commitments? So if I have 5 commitments with you, as long as I can meet those commitments, and there's nothing in the contract that says I cannot commit to 2 or 3 or one other aspect of similar contractual obligations, then I'm free to do whatever I want to do. So this is about negotiation. It's about the contract, the terminologies. So I actually feel FIFA will sit down and UEFA will sit down. And it's now, the chip is now in the hands of clubs. Because clubs can go to UEFA now and say, we wanted A, B, C, and D, you need to give this to us. So they would need to sit down and give them what they want or negotiate. So everybody will make commitment, but you start seeing within the next couple of days and months and weeks that things will start swinging in different directions. So now it's about the highest bidder. Now it's about who can negotiate the best deal. Now it's about who can bring added value into the market.
Let's listen to UEFA's president, Alexander Seferin. He's saying, hey, everyone, calm down, relax. The European Court of Justice ruling didn't validate or endorse the European Super League. Let's listen to him.
It's fair to say that the press release issued by the ECJ and subsequent media generation does not fully reflect the court's findings. In fact, there is a stark contrast between the press statement and the judgment. The judgment is actually positive as it embraces the key features of the European football pyramid: open competitions, sporting merit, and solidarity. And you have in this press conference its governing body and all recognized stakeholders, all. So the ECJ accepts that UEFA maintains its role as organizing and authorizing body. Now, a so-called European Super League central attack on our dual status was therefore clearly rejected. The ECJ certainly has not given the green light nor approved projects like the so-called Super League. We actually welcome the clarity that the ECJ have delivered today, including the endorsement of a pre-authorization system and UEFA's dual role as organizing and authorizing body. Now, the fact is, so-called European Super League has never requested authorization for its projects. Whatever they say differently is not true. Now, we were aware that our authorization system was imperfect, and we started to work on that in 2021 and concluded it in 2022 with the decision of Executive Committee of UEFA. And we are confident that these new rules are fully in line with the ECJ's judgment. It's without any doubt important to stress once again that the ECJ has endorsed the European sports model based on sporting merit, which can be guaranteed only if all teams can enjoy a certain level of equal opportunity. It is also important to note that clubs from many countries, for example, England, Italy, France, are prevented from joining a project which is outside the system.